Hello and welcome to episode 23 on Matchday 23, the final of the Qatar World Cup. This is the Ultimate Football Show podcast. My name is Chris and the final is upon us. Argentina up against France. It should be an absolute thriller, and we certainly hope so for the football fans and maybe even for the purists out there. Lionel Messi, last chance. Kylian Mbappe, can he retain the tournament that they won 4 years ago? Should be fascinating. On today's podcast, we'll hear from Peter Gleason and John Gus Ferguson, who are both over in Qatar. They're gonna go to the final. We'll get their thoughts on all the situation out there and how the atmosphere has been leading up to this big final day. And of course, former Chelsea and Brighton defender Gary Chivers, he joins us as well to look through the final. Argentina up against France. I don't care who wins, I just hope it's a great, great game. We're very happy to support the lilywhitefoundation.com, advancing young people through sport. For more information, visit lilywhitefoundation.com.
I'm Gary Chivers, and this is the Ultimate Football Show podcast.
Big thanks to Gary Chivers, who's been with us all the way through this World Cup tournament. We've got to the final, and it's Argentina-France. When we first spoke in London, it's 5-6 weeks ago, Gary, we met up and had our conversation there. You fancied France right at the beginning, so well done to you for tipping the holders to win again. And I fancied Brazil, and they kind of let me down with too much dancing and not enough concentration on who was actually going to score the goals, not who was going to provide the dance afterwards. But we both said that Argentina have a really good chance this time around because Lionel Messi has been on his own in that squad for the past couple of World Cups. This time, he had players to go alongside him, Di Maria, the guy Alvarez at Manchester City. They've had some decent players to come alongside and really help them out. And Martinez in goal, the Villa goalkeeper, has been outstanding as well in this tournament. So it's Argentina, France. It's a big game, isn't it? They're two big names. They both won the World Cup twice. Argentina 78-86, France in 98, and of course 2018. It's a kind of game we really wanted for the final.
Yeah, it will be. It will be a brilliant game of football, and they've both been the standout sides. Argentina started slowly, but if you look down Argentina, like the spine of the team, you know, Martinez in goal, Otamendi centre half, McAllister has been an absolute standout player for him. And obviously Messi out front. McAllister, by the way, cost Brighton £7 million.
Did he really?
Yeah, there's going to be loads and loads of clubs, I would imagine, after him when he comes back to England. And you've always got Messi, haven't you? You've always got Messi and with Alvarez as well, Julian Alvarez helping him out up top. I mean, the goal he got the other day when Messi's just sold the centre half a dummy and went down the byline. I mean, it was quite incredible. It was Messi evolved. But I'm really, really looking forward to this game. I think there'll be an unbelievable game. And I think I owe Messi an apology for having a go at him, for having a go at one of the players. I think it was
Harry Kane. He was Mbappe put his hand out to say all the best to Jordan Henderson. He ignored him. Before the game. That's not what you want to do. But Messi, you're apologising for him, are you?
Yeah, and Mbappe, the pair of them. I've seen I've looked at some footage, and obviously you'll be delighted if the team you're playing against misses a penalty. You've got to be delighted because you're a couple of steps away from the World Cup. So I'm taking it back from Mbappe and Messi.
Wow.
I'm apologising.
Okay.
I don't often apologise, by the way.
I notice you're apologising when Royal Mail are on strike, so you don't have to add them to your Christmas card list. So.
I was going to say I phoned up Lionel the other day, but no. He's I apologise for him, but they've been standout players, really, really standout players. Really looking forward, and don't forget, France have really got a problem on their hands because I think Karim Benzema is fit now. Now, if you're the manager of that French side, who do you play?
You can't have him in the team, can you now?
Well, I don't know. He's a standout player. He's a good player.
No,
he's
a
great player. But what do you do? Would you stick with Giroud or would you stick Benzema in?
Well, Giroud's the leading goal scorer of all time for France. So he's got quite a decent CV. He's just the understated player, isn't he? Where Benzema, you hear him shouting and screaming from everywhere. Giroud doesn't shout and scream. And I mean, he's had a great career, whatever happens, and leading scorer for France. But with France, I mean, they've done so well to lose Pogba and Kante before, and Benzema as well. 3 major players before the tournament, right on the eve of it for some of them, to come through. But players like Mbappe, Dembele a little bit so much, but Griezmann has really shone. Giroud has shone. They've had players that have stepped up to the mark. They lost their left fullback after one game, and his brother came in. And, you haven't noticed a big difference. It's quite an amazing squad they've got.
Yeah, and we've forgotten Kolo Muani, who just comes on as substitute and scores in the first minute when he comes on. Yeah. I mean, their squad's been quite breathtaking at times. They play great football. And I'm with you, who plays up front for them. It's got to be Giroud, who again, is a standout player. But what a professional. Chris, a great professional. Yeah. He's one, you can take to the young pros and say, that's the way you conduct yourself, because he conducts himself so well on the football pitch. He works his cotton socks off. He's always in and about the ball. He's clever in his movement, but he's such a super pro.
He's going to be a great asset to which any club take him on, just as an assistant or something, assistant coach or trainer for the strikers, just to get the young kids involved and, the ones that are coming through the ranks there. He's going to be a great asset moving forward in his career, whatever he wants to do, whether it be manager or just working on the coaching side. He'd be great to have in your squad, wouldn't he?
Yeah, you want people like that around your club. Yeah. Super pros. I bet he trains well, and obviously he plays well. His movement is not the fastest, and he's just a clever guy. He's a clever guy, and I wish him all the best. I do really wish him all the best. Yeah,
and that comes from all of us. Brilliant player over the years. I hope he finds his next goal in life that is as satisfying as the ones he's provided us over the past few years. I've got to tell you, I find this final really hard to predict. Argentina, France. You want Messi to do well in his final chance to win the World Cup. They've been great in the tournament. They've stood up to the mark when they needed to. They lost the first game. They came back and said, we're going to, still be there. Don't worry, supporters. They've got great support over in Qatar. But France, if one doesn't play well, someone else will. That's the beauty of it. Mbappe was quiet against England, and then others stepped up. Dembele's been quiet. Griezmann's been outstanding. Yeah. And Giroud is just always where he needs to be. You just can't see Argentina keeping a clean sheet against these French, even though Martinez in goal has been outstanding as well for Argentina, and the penalty saves he made have just been brilliant. It could be a cracking final, couldn't it, Gary?
Well, I hope it is. I hope it will be a cracking game. I mean, they're both open. They'll go hammer and tong at it. Really, I'm just so excited. Really, really excited, because if this French team click, I know they were my betting forecast favourites for the title. If they click, it's going to be one hell of a game. And I think Argentina, I still think they rely on Messi too much. He's the go-to person. Do you know what I mean? When I'm looking at them playing, the ball could be on the left-hand side. Lionel Messi could be right on the right-hand side. Yeah. But by hook or by crook, they just try and feed him the ball. And I think maybe France might stick someone on him man-to-man. But this is a dominant French squad or a French team.
You don't think saying that this is Argentina's really best chance and last chance with Messi now to win it. Because after he goes, they've got a decent squad, but they've got a brilliant squad. And if they miss him, which they will do in future tournaments, they're in the final. They've just got to give it everything they've got, haven't they, really?
Yeah, and with Julian Alvarez up front as well, he don't need too many chances before he sticks one away.
Yeah,
he's been incredible for him. Really, really sharp in his movement, sharp in his mind. He's been a great asset to Argentina.
I don't know who I want to win. I want to see Messi go out on a high, but I think France have been the best and probably deserve it more. So my selection for the final to win the World Cup, I'm going to go with your selection early on in the tournament. I'm going to go with France. I think their firepower up front is just going to make Messi cry once again. But what a career he's had. Who do you like in the final words on our episode number 23? And by the way, Gary, thanks so much for all your contribution over the past few weeks. Hope you've enjoyed taking part. It's been a great World Cup. Who's going to win the final?
Well, I'm going to stick with my tip at the start. So I'm going with France as well. I really do think they're a standout team. They've been superb all the way. And the only team that ever gave them any trouble in the rounds was England. So I'm staying with France. I'm Gary Chivers.
I'm Chris Barnett.
And this is the Ultimate Football Show podcast.
So we've heard from Gary Chivers. He's going with France in the final. To be fair, he did fancy France 6 weeks ago, so he's sticking to his guns, and we thank Gary for all his contributions. We're going straight over live to the venue. We're off to Qatar, and Gus Ferguson from the Lily White Foundation, massive Tottenham Hotspur fan, is on the line. Well, so is Peter Gleason, that we heard for in the semi-final as well, a Manchester United fan. So Tottenham and United both get to a final somehow. This is the only way it's possible, I would imagine. It's the World Cup final between Argentina and France. And gentlemen, we'll start with you, Gus. You're over there in Qatar. I know you've been based in Dubai for a few weeks now, enjoying the sun, a bit of golf, and the World Cup final. Have you pinched yourself yet that you got a couple of tickets for this?
Well, it's been amazing, Chris. Like you said, since 2008, it's the first. I need to come and see somebody lift a trophy. So, as a Spurs fan, Peter's probably a bit more recently seen a trophy lifted. But for me, this is going to be a rarity to be at a final where I don't really care who wins. But it's going to be fantastic. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Pinching ourselves. World Cup final in the sun. Christmas time coming up. It's couldn't have asked for anything better. The organisation's been amazing. The tournament's been special. The place is great fun to be at. All the press that was surrounding Doha pre-tournament, this is a lovely country. It's a great place to be, and I get every country's got its issues, and political issues and everything else. But from a sporting spectacle, point of view, this has been a phenomenally successful tournament. Yeah, we're delighted to be at the final this afternoon.
You could certainly say that even the UK has its political issues. You don't have very far to look for those. So I guess, we can't all just look at Qatar and throw stones if we're all living in glass houses. And Peter, I imagine you spend quite a lot of time over in that part of the world, and Qatar has been fantastic football-wise. It's just been a brilliant tournament, hasn't it?
It has. I was lucky enough to be to Wembley for the semi-finals and the Germany match and the final 18 months ago, and now being here is it does show, it is night and day. Yes, okay, the excitement of being at home at Wembley has been fantastic, but Qatar, as John says, has outdone itself. The atmosphere, the way in which they've organised everything from the metro to the airports to people walking around, be it in the souk or in the around the stadiums, has been fantastic. There's going to be a big parade today, and we're going to get there early for the opening ceremony. No drink involved, and that's fine. I think people are enjoying themselves and having a great time, and we're looking forward to a very exciting end to the tournament.
That's been quite an exciting and a new feature, isn't it? A World Cup or any kind of football tournament without any sort of form of trouble, violence, fighting, aggression, drunkenness. It's quite refreshing, isn't it, Gus?
I was just about to say, Chris, it's incredibly refreshing. Do you know what? There is no shortage of alcohol here in Qatar at all, full stop, regardless of what the press would have you think. There are plenty of bars, restaurants, nightclubs. You can get a beer anywhere you want, a glass of wine anywhere you want. But when it comes to going to the stadiums are alcohol free. And this is the first tournament certainly in my lifetime, a major tournament, and even Premier League weekend, where there has been zero arrests for drunk and disorderly fighting fans. As Peter said just now, it's everyone's sitting, the fans mix, everyone's enjoying themselves. Lots of kids, it's family friendly, and you just feel like it is what it's meant to be. It is a World Cup final tournament which is a sporting spectacle that should be enjoyed by everyone. And and it's just fantastic. I honestly almost wish that the rest of the world would follow and make stadiums alcohol free.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea. And there's absolutely no need to have a drink while you're watching a football game at all. I mean, that's just personal opinion. I don't know why people need to have the opportunity just to go before and after the games if you want to, like you would do in a normal lifetime. If you were going out to any theatre venue or cinema, just enjoy yourselves and enjoy the game. But I'm sure you will do that. And Peter, obviously the Brits the English, we're famous, aren't we? We hate the French, local neighbours. Oh, we don't like the French. We don't like Argentina either because of the Falkland War, 30 years ago. So we don't like them as well because of what Maradona did. So really, I think for the English fans, they don't care who wins. I'd love to see Messi win his World Cup and take that chip off the shoulder, get it all over and done with. He's then probably the best player we've ever seen, although Pele was pretty good, and Ronaldinho I thought was amazing as a footballer. But for you, being a neutral Englishman, who do you want to win? Do you want Messi to go out with a bang and win the World Cup, or do you want the future with Mbappe and Gleason? Maybe not the future with him, but certainly Dembele's still there, and our friend Chouameni, he's probably the future as well. Is it Argentina or France for you in your heart?
Well, you're very much right. For an English supporter, Argentina, France isn't your number one choice. I'm a rugby fan as well. It's almost like having a Wales versus Australia rugby World Cup final. And I think that would actually be worse for me, having Wales and Australia in the final. But it's not. It's football. And therefore, for me, I want who I think are the best team. And having been lucky enough to get to the semi-finals and watching France and watching Argentina were the better team. Argentina had, from what we saw, the better fans, the more passionate, the more educated in terms of their football knowledge fans. The fans were fantastic, the Argentinian. The players are fantastic. I'm a huge Ronaldo fan. I will still not have him not be said against Messi as the GOAT. But you've got to look at Messi and what he's done, and you look at that whole team right the way from the goalie at the back through the defence through to, and it's not just Messi, it's Alvarez as well. I know they've got Griezmann, I know they've got Mbappe. I think Argentina are the better team, they're the better fans, and I'll be supporting Argentina if I have to support anyone. But I'm just looking forward to a great game. Love to see a free-flowing 3-3 draw and then go to penalties would be fantastic. But I just want to see a really good game and both teams go for it rather than a defensive chess match.
And for you guys, you've obviously got a little bit of a link now with Hugo Lloris in the goal for France, who's had a good tournament. We've seen some great players emerging. A lot of Moroccan players emerge from this tournament with a great reputation. But I've got to say, Martinez, the Aston Villa goalkeeper of Argentina, has looked phenomenal in goal in the World Cup. And you really didn't see that under Steven Gerrard, did you?
No, you didn't, and he has looked good. And in fact, we've got Romero in the Argentinian team as well as Lloris in the French team. So there are links, and obviously, from a Spurs point of view, we've always had the Argentinian link since 1978, and like Peter said, as an Englishman, Argentina versus France wouldn't be your first choice as a final. but I'm going to go with Argentina on this. I think if you stop Messi, France win, and I think if you stop Mbappe, Argentina win. It's almost that basic, I think. And the two are talismans. The two are their dominant players. It's going to be who stops the other one's kind of iconic player, really. Peter's right. There is, and you're right as well. Tuchemeni, and you've got McAllister and Alvarez, Otamendi in the Argentinian side. Dembele playing, Giroud playing, Griezmann. That quartet up front for France are looking very strong. I'd just like to see, as Peter said, really just a great final where everyone goes for it rather than a kind of cautious chess match. I think I'd like to see Messi walk away with it. This is his 5th World Cup, and it's the only thing he's not won. To be kind of remembered in the same way that Pele or Maradona, you need to have a World Cup kind of win under your belt. So I think it'd be nice to see Messi take it.
I'm quite amazed because you're both in the same hotel. Peter's in the quiet area and Gus is in the bar. I think that's how it works because all the noise is Gus is just having beer bottles opened around him. Obviously, alcohol-free ones at this time of the day, but amazing difference in sound. And Gus, as you said before in an earlier episode, when we met in London, I don't know, 5-6 weeks ago, we said then, didn't we, that Messi in the past didn't really have a great team around him. But now with Alvarez and Di Maria's playing pretty well, De Paul's not a bad player, Martinez in goal, he really does have the support. McAllister has been outstanding for them as well. And this is their chance, isn't it? I know they've won it twice in the past, but not with Messi. And this is his best chance, his last chance, obviously, too, to win this trophy. And he's really got a supporting cast to help him. Yeah,
I think that's right. Scaloni was quite insistent that it's not just about Messi, wasn't he? And he was saying that De Paul, McAllister, those guys sort of in the middle are actually helping make Messi kind of look better and get stronger. And then Alvarez is looking a quality striker. So you do get the feeling that it's, as we said in London, that once upon a time it was very reliant on Messi. It was very much a case of just filling up the other positions and letting Messi do his thing. Now it's a supporting cast that's really aiding Messi and allowing him to, lead Argentina forward. Because if you look at the way they started the tournament, I think a lot of people were like, "Oh my goodness, this is not what we expected." But they've just got stronger and stronger, and I just think it's going to be. I'm really looking forward to a great match, actually.
And Peter, as a Manchester United fan, would you be looking to Rafa Varane as having a good game and try and stop Messi? Can you stop Messi, or is it a case of just doing the best you can against him? And really, for the Argentinians, stopping Mbappe is pretty difficult as well, isn't it?
I mean, I think it's easier to stop Mbappe because Mbappe does normally stay out towards the left. You saw what Walker did to him. You saw what the Moroccans did to him, sort of thing. So I think that's easier. Messi just roams. Messi just does what he wants. He'll go to the left, go to the right, drop back into the 10, he'll go forward. I honestly think, and the problem is, you focus on Messi, you've then got Alvarez, who I think is fantastic. Very jealous of City having him. And, I think he's a great player. I think Varane's going to have his hands full. I think it's going to be while I'm hoping for a 3-3, I think it's going to be a quick 2 goals by Argentina, 2-0 up, and then I think they'll win 3 or 4-1. I think they will wipe the floor with the French team today. And I think Messi, Alvarez might even get 3 goals between them, maybe 4. I think they're going to really storm this. And I think I personally think they're by far the best players. I'd imagine, looking at the semi-finals, it'll be 85-90% Argentinian in the stands, a bit like for Morocco, and therefore the fans will be all behind them. I think it's going to be a very, very intense atmosphere in there for the French. So I can see a clear Argentinian victory.
And to both of you, just to finish before we let you go and head off on the metro to the Lusail iconic stadium once again for this final. The atmosphere in the stadium, as you said, Argentina have been great. Morocco had some great fans. Argentina are right up well with them, and that atmosphere has just been bubbling, hasn't it? It's been absolutely fantastic to get it over the TV, but to be in the stadium itself for both of you, that must have been great, especially when you didn't have the pressure of supporting your own country.
Well, yeah, it was. I mean, I think certainly for the Morocco game, the atmosphere at the Morocco game was far more crackling and electric, and very passionate. A lot of local support, clearly, as an Arab nation getting to that stage of the tournament. And apart from the guy that left early and trod on my foot, it was fantastic. But the game before, the Argentina game, was, as Peter said, it was almost entirely Argentinian fans in the crowd. So you didn't get that back and forward buzz that you would get when you've got two sets of supporters. But I think tonight, I think there will be more French than we've seen previously. But I think, as Peter said, I think tonight will be, I'd imagine it to be sort of 60-70% Argentinian.
And Peter, when you get back, you're going to the Manchester United-Burnley game. How much different will that be for you? Sitting in Old Trafford, it's going to be a bit colder, although it's warming up over here. I think it's about 12, 14 degrees during next week. So you're going to have to wrap up a little bit. And I don't think the pies will be quite as good as the ones in Doha.
No, but Manchester Christmas markets are going until the 23rd. So I'm looking forward to getting up there on Tuesday, going to the Christmas markets with my family, having some great time up there. And, I'm looking forward to seeing United. I think Burnley's going to be a hard game. They're well managed now by Company. But, we're going to have the Argentinian Messi of the future in Garnacho playing for us. He didn't make the World Cup team. He's the star at United. I think he's 18 years old. My prediction is he will be the next Messi 4 years' time, 8 years' time. I'd love to see him lift it. He's a great young kid, and I'm hoping to see him on Wednesday night against Burnley. Looking forward to that.
And as always, if in doubt, the Lou Macari chip shop just on the corner before you go down. It's been there for a million years. Unbelievable.
Yeah. I can certainly tell you it's going to take a lot longer to get into the ground and queue up and go through security checks rather than it will do as we just walk into the ground at Lusail. But yeah, I'm looking forward to them that match as well very much.
So, Chris, what's your prediction for the score tonight?
Well, I've gone with France to win it. I'm going to go with something like 2-1 or 3-2 because I think there are goals in this. There's obviously great teams have goal scorers, as we've seen. That's what Croatia and Morocco lacked, isn't it, in the semis, goal scorers up front. Messi, Alvarez, they can score. Di Maria can score. And then Mbappe, Griezmann, Giroud. I mean, wow. It's got to be goals. I just think France are slightly better. I'd have to disagree with you, but I know it's a 50-50 call. And as I said to Gary, I don't really mind who wins, just as long as it's a good game, because this is a final that most fans would have dreamt of if England weren't going to be there. And if Brazil didn't get there, then certainly Argentina, France would not have been a bad final, writing down on the spreadsheet beforehand. So I'm going to go for France, but I'd love Messi to win it as well. So I don't mind. And it's a great feeling, isn't it? I mean, you're there, you're going to have a better feeling. But for me, just to sit here and enjoy the game and not worry how many minutes there is to go. Whoever wins, if it's France, they're the better team. If Messi wins, he's deserved it. So I'm really open and neutral on it. And I think that's the best way to enjoy the game this afternoon for us. Evening. Was it 7 o'clock kickoff for you? Is it in Doha?
6 o'clock. Gus, what's your prediction?
I'm going for a reversal. I think when they played each other in 2018 at the World Cup, I think France won 4-3, didn't they? So I'm going to go for a reversal of that, 4-3 to Argentina.
And Peter, wow. you were big on Argentina to win easily, weren't you, really?
3 or 4-1. If I had to go for prediction, I'm going to say 3-1 if I had to be forced into it. But yeah, I think it will be a clear Argentina victory.
I can see your metro is waiting for you as we speak. Guys, it's been lovely catching up with you over the past few days in Doha. It's lovely to get a feel of the atmosphere for the semis and now, of course, the big game itself, the World Cup final. Have a safe match tonight. I'm sure you will. And a safe journey back home. Enjoy Old Trafford next week. And John, Gus Ferguson and Peter Gleason, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. Enjoy the game and come home safely.
A pleasure, Chris. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
You're listening to the Ultimate Football Show podcast with Gary Chivers and Chris Barnett. We're very happy to support the lilywhitefoundation.com, advancing young people through sport. For more information, visit lilywhitefoundation.com. And there it is. There we have it. It's all coming up to the final. Argentina, who've won it twice, against France, the holders who've also won the tournament twice in their history. Hopeful for a great game with the big guns on display. Messi, Mbappe, Giroud, Gleason, McAllister, Di Maria, Alvarez. It's just going to be fantastic. We look forward to it. Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock UK time is when it takes place in Qatar. And that's it for the Ultimate Football Show podcast. Hope you've enjoyed the 23 episodes as we've been looking into each and every match day. My thanks go to all of our guests who joined us on the podcast, of course, to regular contributor to Gary Chivers, to John Gus Ferguson, Peter Gleason, to Stanford Chidge for his insight, to Frank Khalid and to Feroz Ali, who all joined us to talk us through their views, their opinions on our favourite game, football, at the Qatar World Cup. If you want to stay tuned to Midnight Productions, you can do so. You can follow us at Midnight Mix on Twitter and on Instagram as well. We're also on YouTube. Look out there for Chris Barnett. That's me, Midnight Productions. We'll have more sporting productions coming up in 2023, and I hope you'll join us for all of those. But in the meantime, thanks very much for being our listeners on the Ultimate Football Show podcast. Enjoy the final, and we'll see you in 2023 somewhere along the line. See you then.